Thanks for staying with me, watching Deep Dive with me, Nikunj Dalmia. Now, today our big story is, of course, that the Birla Group has decided to enter into the cable and the wire business. Via their group company Ultratech, the Birla Group has decided they would be entering into the business, which is an actual course of extension for the Birla Group, because they're in cement, they've entered into the paint business, they already have dipped their toes in the real estate business. Now they really wanted to go and have a formidable market share in the entire wire and cable business. So what is making this sector look suddenly so attractive? Well, the entire cable and wire business is growing in double digit, and the CAGR growth is significantly higher than India's GDP. This is one space where 70% of the market is dominated by large players. This is one space where the P multiples of stocks are very large and very high, and if there is a large entrant which comes in, which has reach, size and distribution, that really could have disruptive impact on some of the current players. No wonder markets are worried. The stock of Havel today is down in double digit. Polycab in the morning was almost circuit down. KI Industries is also down. Now one should bear in mind that for some of these stocks, the recent outperformance has been massive. P multiples are bloated. So while you can argue back and say that abhi Delhi dur hai and it will take not just a year, it could take a couple of years before the intensity could be seen. In the near term, there's nothing to worry about, but the sheer valuation discomfort is also one of the reasons why some of these stocks are correcting. Should one worry about competition in this space? Is Birla's recent entry into the paint business an indication of what they're trying to do here, or their failed entry in the jewelry business is also an example that they cannot get everything and anything right, whatever they're trying to attempt? So let's take that point slightly forward with Girija Shankar, and he of course represents AS Securities. How much of the fear today, Girija, in the market is misplaced, and how much of that is realistic?
First of all, thank you, Nikunj, for calling me to the show. Yeah, today, we saw a dip of around 6.5% in Ultratech. I'll just cover 3 points here about this, wires and cable business. What Ultratech is going to, spend around 1,800 crore, and second, how Ultratech core business is going to impact because of this new diversification into the business. See, as you know, like the 1,800 crore is going to make somewhere around 7,000 to 7,500 crore of revenue. But it will take some time. It's like, once they set the factory in Gujarat, so that will take around 1.5 years to 2 years of time period to make that, coming to that top line growth. And secondly, if you see, wires and cable business, all the larger players who are existing in the market, so they mix around EBITDA margin of 10 to 15%. But here for Ultratech, as a startup, I believe they will be able to make somewhere around 9.5% to 10% of EBITDA margin. So around EBITDA margin of 500 crore or 600 EBITDA of 500 crore to 600 crore is not going to help Ultratech in near term. Until unless they scale up the business in a very higher, proportion. But the core point here is to watch out that the Ultratech core business focus is getting shifted from to the wires and cables. So that is the only reason what I'm a bit concerned about. But yes, from a cash flow perspective, from a top line growth perspective, Ultratech as a larger player is doing well. But provided if you see current market scenario, the core business is also in the industry. Industry itself is not doing well. Last quarter, if you see third quarter, Ultratech as a larger player, although it was made the street numbers and the numbers were good, but as per my knowledge, it should have much better than third quarter numbers, right? So as a market leader, you have higher pricing power. Even you have a lot of market reach. So that didn't help to up to that extent, because a lot of pressure is coming from the Adani Cement, then other larger players like Sri Cements, and somehow they're getting some kind of pressure from the Dalmia. So in terms of the core business, I believe for next 2 to 3 quarters, the numbers will not be that much great for the Ultratech as well as for the industry, I can say. Coming back to the pricing again, if you see, and the acquisitions what they have done, so that is also in southern regions where capacity utilization is very low, and scaling up those, the southern region acquisitions, those capacity is first important for the Ultratech right now. So getting into the getting into a wires and cable business at this moment, sounds little awkward for me. But yes, in a long-term purpose, this is going to help. Probably after 2.5 years or 3 years of time frame, I can say.
Three things here. One, what does this move mean for Grasim? Because that's the holding company. Second, what it means for Ultratech and what it means for the existing wire and cable companies. So I'll start with the latter. Is the selling in some of the cable and wire companies slightly overextended? Because by the time capacity would kick in, it will be 3 years. It's not easy to get capacity. While Grasim has been successful in paint, Birla Group has not been successful in jewelry. So we don't know what will happen in the entire wire business also.
So if this wires and cable, if it would have come under Grasim, then it would have helped much better. What I'm saying you right now, the core business, the cement business, if somebody is thinking that I have a lot of networking with through the cement dealers and distributors, and I'll be able to sell the wires and cables, that is quite impossible right now. Because obviously the dealers and distributors, they will go for a same line of business. See, instead of getting into wires and cables, if in the same line of business, let's say white cement, wall putty, or paint business, that could have helped much better because the way they are having a lot of networking in the industry. Secondly, about the as you are mentioning, other wires and cables companies, obviously there is a disruption for those companies because the synergy benefit what the company Ultratech is going to get from the Hindalco. The major raw material is aluminum and copper. Although copper is imported, I know it's imported, but they are having aluminum, in-house minings. So in that raw material front, the dependency will be less for the Ultratech in that if they are coming up with this wires and cables. Logistic also benefits will be there. But coming to other, existing companies which are already having a very big market reach and networking, so it's a kind of sentiment right now, and somehow it is going to for a a fewer period of time, it is going to disrupt the market. But long term view, I believe this companies is going to do well, and it's always good to have a competition, right, in the market.
So what should investors do? I mean, stocks of cable and wire stocks were expensive, 40, 50 P multiples. Are they falling because P multiples were expensive or there's a genuine growth concern now?
See, the multiples are actually high. Even if you see, even I'll just tell you, even for the cement companies also, what multiples are they're getting, this is in a higher valuations, right? So I don't have much idea about the wires and cables multiple, but what I believe for the cement companies, the valuation is at the high level right now.
So at what price point in time these cable and wire companies become attractive? And what do you buy within that? I mean, there are companies which essentially have more B2B. There are companies which have more B2C. There are companies which essentially are in consumer wiring, and there are companies which are industrial wiring. What becomes the first port of call now?
So seriously, I do not have an answer for this. So I'll just skip this answer.
For an investor of Ultratech, can they say that Ultratech is running out of options? That is the reason why they are expanding?
See, what I believe for Ultratech, the acquisitions, whatever I have done, and most of the geographical expansion, what they have done, it is quite significant in last 2 years. Whatever through whether it's a acquisitions or greenfield, expansions. Now the concern is that few regions are there where they can allow to do again CCI approvals, and a lot of things are required. So that is one concern what I believe. But the competition what they are getting, that is very tough from other larger players, even some smaller regional players also. So it and going forward, what I believe for Ultratech, they will be more focused on in the cement business. They will be more focused on their greenfield expansions rather going for any kind of acquisition in near term. So it's a sentimental kind of things, and but yes, for what I believe for wires and cables, that's not a that is not going to help in near term. But yes, long term purpose, it is going to help.
All right, Girija, appreciate your time and thank you very much for joining us. Now let's take a break.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.